Hello there guys and girls! Today I'm here with another very useful tutorial for your cinematics in GTA 5. Some of you may have tried to film amazing car chases or racing scenes, and I have given you a bunch of tips and tricks in the past on this topic. For example in the task sequence tutorial. However, if you want the cars to perform specific maneuvers or drive in formation, neither Menyoo, Simple Trainer nor Scene Director will do a great job. But here's a pretty unknown mod that can help you out, and I want to show you how it works. It hasn't been downloaded all that much, not even 9,000 times.
It's over 9,000!
Not!
But the ratings are great. Honestly, it took me some time to warm up to the UI and how to use it effectively. The mod is originally meant for people who like racing in the game. Racists, so to speak. But it also has great use in machinima production, and I'm gonna help you set this up perfectly for your scenes. I wanna shout out to my Patreon supporter Saeed, who showed me this mod in the first place. I tried to keep the tutorial short, but I failed. There's just too much I wanna show and explain to you. Let's get to it. Installation. Installing this mod is pretty easy. First of all, you need ScriptHook 5, of course, and the Microsoft Visual C++ 2015 to 2019 redistributables. So install these if you haven't already. After downloading the mod, you just have to unpack the archive and put the ASI file and the folder Ghost Replay into the main directory of GTA 5. Bringing this mod up is a little different compared to others, because by default there is no dedicated hotkey. Instead, you have to open the cheat menu of GTA 5 and type the word ghost in there. However, as you can see from the file settings_menu.ini, the keys to control the mod can be adjusted to your liking. So if you prefer a hotkey, another word to trigger it, or using the num block, just change the names of the keys here. Personally, I changed it to F6 to bring it up quicker. I swear it's much more comfortable. I like that the controls work with the arrow keys instead of the num block, which allows you to use Menyoo without triggering functions in Ghost Replay. However, Menyoo does also react to arrow keys and the enter key, so it doesn't work both ways. Even the font color or the position of the UI can be manipulated, for example to avoid overlays between different mods. This offset here is meant to be from 0 to 1.0, so experiment with different values to find the right placement. I've set it to 0.2. Let's start the game and see how that looks. Important settings. After booting up GTA 5, you can bring up Ghost Replay as described by pressing your hotkey for the cheat menu. As you can see, with the 0.2 offset, it is placed nicely next to Menyoo. What I like about this UI is that there's often a small explanation at the bottom of the window. Also, please pay attention to the bottom right corner of your screen, because it shows you some more control options. There is an example track here, which I'm gonna ignore completely. In fact, I'm even going to delete it by pressing the left arrow key twice. Before creating a new track, I want to show you a bunch of important settings that you should check out. As I've said, this mod was made with racing in mind, but if you're using it for cinematics, it needs some adjustments. The first one is to be found in Ghost Controls. Like the name Ghost implies, the cars are not opaque per default. So you need to change the opacity from 40 to 100% in order to show the cars fully during your recordings. And that's it for this section. In the actual settings menu at the bottom, you'll find a lot more stuff to adjust. For example, the start and finish have these smoke flares. They will transfer to the Rockstar editor, so you have two options if you don't want them to appear in your film. You can turn them off in the settings here. Instead, you could spawn in some other, more inconspicuous objects to mark the start and finish for yourself, like a dumpster or whatever. Another possibility is to leave the smoke flares active, but put the start and finish somewhere off camera, which won't be seen in the final edit. The rest of these options are useful. like seeing the blips on the map or the recording time, because that way you can see that you've begun and ended the race even if the start and finish lines are invisible. The recording settings are worth a peek as well, because here you can change from saving only the fastest laps to saving all the laps you record, because in a cinematic it's not about speed but about style. You can also choose to record indicators and emergency lights, which is great for cop car chases. The advanced ghost settings also have some details to check out. Zero velocity on pause is cool to have because it can buy you time to place props and other stuff at the right moments in your chase. The replay sync type is just as important. If you select absolute, the playback is 100% the way you recorded it, but it will lack effects like tire trails, dirt and smoke.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Not ideal for cinematics, so approximate is the better choice. During my tests, the replay was still very close to what I recorded and the cars were not thrown off course by my interference. Farther down the list you can also enable drivers. That way, Ghost Replay will remember the character you used while driving, even if you're using custom multiplayer models, and restart the game in between sessions. Otherwise the cars would just be empty, which of course looks bad on camera. The collision of the vehicles might also be important. It depends if you want to create a race with cars actually bumping into each other or into other objects. I think it's good to activate this feature occasionally. During my tests, the collisions themselves looked alright when it's just light bumping and scraping, like in a competitive race or when the cops are tackling a car. But when you actually want to show two cars crashing heavily in real time, the ghost you recorded before behaves like an immovable object. It won't budge at all. That's why I recommend recording crash shots separately with the help of Menyoo to spice it up a bit. Another thing to consider is, if you record two ghosts individually while the other one is not activated, the cars won't know if they collide, so upon replaying the ghosts they will just pass through each other. Which means you always have to activate all previous ghosts so that you know which path to drive along when recording a track. By the way, you can also edit all these things in the file settings_general.ini if you know what you're doing. With these preparations done, we can move on to create a new track. Creating a track. Now let's set up a new track by selecting Track Setup. First, you should find a suitable name that easily distinguishes the track for the scene you want to film. You can of course record the entire car chase in one go, but I recommend breaking it down to smaller pieces. So I'll name this My Movie _Car Chase 1 _ Part 1, for example. Then you have to tell the mod where the start and finish lines are. It is best to draw these a bit farther away from the actual point where you want to start and stop filming, because the vehicles will appear and disappear instantly when you cross these lines with your own car. You don't want that to happen on camera. Or do you? These lines are defined by 2 markers each. I recommend setting the markers while on foot. To set the starting line, you simply go to the left side of the road, referring to where the cars will go. This is important because the mod only registers a ghost if the car crosses the lines from the right direction. It is best to make the starting line as wide as possible to give your cars more space for starting positions. Otherwise they might collide right at the start with the settings I've shown you before. Press E to leave a marker and then walk over to the right side. It will draw a nice line, and hitting E again confirms your selection. As I said before, I have placed the dumpster as a visual aid for where the start and end is, because I deactivated the smoke flares in this example. Now you need the finish line. Set it up the same way, starting from the left and making another marker on the right of the road. Don't forget to actually save your track. You can also redo these lines at any time. They can basically be any place on the map you can reach with your vehicle. The route you take there while recording a ghost is completely up to you. That is the key advantage of this mod, because it allows for your characters to take shortcuts, a detour, or just go off the road. That's not possible if you use Menyoo and give characters a waypoint to drive to with task sequences. Going back to the main menu, I just want to show you the track selection up here. This little arrow tells you that the track is active. Hitting enter will deactivate it. You can also see the timer in the upper left corner, as well as the little flags on the minimap disappearing when you unload the track. These are also a nice indicator for the start and finish. Basically, the track is now ready to go. Recording ghosts. Back at the starting line, I've prepared some more characters. Make sure not to start at the same position as any other ghost, otherwise you will collide instantly with the settings we chose. This is why I prepared these nice visual lanes for the cars to start at. Yes, the ghost cars will always do that weird collision thingy at the beginning. Don't worry about that now. The timer in the upper left corner starts once you cross it. Now you can do whatever you want with the car and the mod will record it. Crossing the finish line in the right direction will stop the timer and you will see the indicator with your lap time. This confirms that you've successfully recorded the ghost.
Is there a spooky ghost here?
Now you can go back to the starting line and repeat it with another driver. If you want to see more than one ghost while you're driving, you have to go to the ghost menu and select the other ones as well, indicated by this small arrow. In the ghost controls you can also watch a preview. As you can see, I've prepared the other drivers. For demonstration purposes, I'm gonna pause the replay, just so you can see that Ghost Replay correctly saved all of these drivers, including their clothing and accessories. And now I can just react to all these shenanigans. If you're not happy with the recording, you can either just cancel it before crossing the finish line or delete it after the fact. Let's move on to a more practical scenario on actual roads. So for a classic film scenario, let's do a police chase. I've got a sports car here and I'll just use police cruisers to be the following vehicles and switch to the cop characters which I've conveniently prepared here. As you can see, I've made start and finish lines visible with the smoke again. The way this is set up, I will pass the start from here and come back from this direction. Since collision is enabled, I marked each vehicle's starting position. Remember? The starting line has to be wide, otherwise this happens. Now I'll do a little live demo in real time. I'm waiting at the start here until the ghost accelerates on the count of 3 seconds. I can then chase this vehicle to make for an exciting scene on camera. I'm trying not to collide heavily with the other car here because I want to film these shots separately. Of course, for this it is important that you've laid out a route for your car chase that you can follow over and over to shoot consistent takes on location. It might take a couple of tries to get the best take, and the shorter the portion of a route you choose, the easier it will be to puzzle together the best scenes. This example track is quite long. Here's basically the point where I turn the cars back around to go to the finish line. When recording for a film, I would set up another track to continue from this point onwards. Now I'm back at the start again to add another police car to the mix. Of course, I'm using a different vehicle and driver, which I've prepared and saved as a menu map. Here's the third starting position. Same procedure again. Even though I may repeat myself, if you are not happy with the way you drove even before reaching the finish line, you can cancel the recording at any moment. Or if you save the recording, you can always delete any ghost later on as well. Thankfully, Ghost Replay shows the name of the cars to let you tell the recordings apart. It might be good to go around the lab a bunch of times to practice your maneuvers. Now that these ghosts are recorded, you can actually record the clip. Replay and filming. Everything I've shown you so far didn't have anything to do with actually recording the footage for Rockstar Editor. That's what you can do now when you are satisfied with how each ghost is driving. However, when the cars are traveling across greater distances, it could be that the game world is not rendered fully where they are. So unless you are taking your own car to race against the ghosts while recording, I recommend you to spectate as a passenger. In Ghost Controls you can select the vehicle and hit spectate to sit in it. With Menyoo you can play some animations or do drive-by shootings. Sadly, it seems you cannot play speech events while spectating like this. So dialogue has to be filmed separately as well. Alternatively, you just turn yourself invisible if you don't want the passenger to be seen. Now before you start the playback, of course you must press F1 to start recording. And then the preview can begin. The cool thing is that since you've already recorded all the cars, you can do very long one-shots for as long as your recording duration lasts. So this entire scene playing out here could be filmed without making a single cut if you like. But I think this requires some great camera movements to keep it exciting and captivating. Once all the vehicles have reached the finish line and disappear, you can end the recording with F1 again. Now your footage is finally captured. Footage in Rockstar Editor. I really don't know why I turned this into its own video chapter. You can edit the footage just like you always do. May I recommend some of my other tutorials where I talked about that? Or you could use that time to subscribe. Hit the like button and activate notifications. Go ahead, I'm waiting. I hope you're enjoying the clip in the background where I just manipulated the camera in one big smooth blend motion to capture the action. For now, this raw footage is looking great in Rockstar Editor already, despite just being a demo clip without much planning. Oh, you're done subscribing now? Thanks. Well, now you've seen the whole 30-second clip as a one-shot. I've taken the same recording and added some more angles to it. The flow of the shots isn't perfect, but not only does this spice up the action a lot, this way you can also tell more of a story by getting closer to the characters. Also, it feels more like a real movie because having this camera drone type of movement during the car chase over an extended period feels a bit off. And notice how I could show that the second police car took another route to cut Franklin off. That went completely under the radar with the one shot. So I kinda like this version more, even though it's mostly improvised. Known problems. There are some smaller issues in Ghost Replay. One of them is that the ghost cars will not work well with the chaotic in-game traffic. It's literally unpredictable. If you disable collision on the ghosts, they will just pass through other cars. If you enable collision, they will just ram and delete other cars all the time while trying to stay on their designated path. It's not really the mod's fault, but something you might have to work around. I will show you how that works in just a minute. Also, the Ghost Replay mod may crash if you disable traffic in another mod menu. However, this didn't happen during all my tests when I did that with Simple Trainer. As you've seen during my live demo, the traffic was turned off the entire time. If it does happen to you, there is another mod called No Traffic that was specifically made to be compatible with Ghost Replay. Supposedly it happens after a few laps, but I haven't encountered a crash yet, even after recording over 30 ghosts for a single track. One smaller issue I have found is that sometimes when you spectate and the playback ends, your character might disappear and sit inside an invisible car high up in the air. At first I was stumped because I couldn't move, it felt like the game was frozen. If it happens to you, just use Menyoo to be visible again and then exit the vehicle. I don't know how this happens, probably it's some error when you work with scene director and save a pad as an actor, because I actually had a hard time reproducing the bug. If you find any other issues with the mod, please let me know in the comments and maybe I can help. Bonus techniques. I do have a few more things to show you. Number 1. For example, I like that you can make cars drive in formation thanks to this mod. That is something I've been trying so hard to do when I recorded my SWAT video, where I ended up attaching all cars to the leading police cruiser, which only looked good from very far away. For this scenario where you don't need collision, it might be best to turn it off, because otherwise you have to create a very wide starting line like I did for demonstration purposes. After crossing the starting line, I position the vehicles in formation before starting to drive. In this example I start going when the timer hits 10 seconds. I start with the first car. If you only want to focus on steering, you should be using the cruise control in Menyoo, where you can set an exact speed for the car. That way you can make the formation look very tight, even with multiple cars, and you only have to focus on the smooth steering, which can be a challenge on its own. But you have to hit the exact same speed for each car, which can be tricky, so I only did that for the leading car. I recommend using a controller for this to get some smoother steering. Let's just fast forward to when I prepared the whole formation. As you can see from my live demo, it is very hard to get a nice formation, but for the sake of the tutorial I won't do 20 takes for each car. They are not driving that fast, but it does work well on camera. If you look closely, you can see the cars jitter a bit in a regular interval. I could not reproduce this bug in any other clip I recorded. It could be because I used the same car multiple times, or the cruise control might have caused it. Maybe you have an idea. Number 2. As you saw in the police example, I kinda like preparing a Menyoo map with all the vehicles for a scene and positioning them in the right starting order, with a bit of distance from the starting line. That way you can just load everything quickly in the next session and you won't forget who starts where. As you can see, I marked all the Ghost Replay Menyoo maps with the abbreviation GRT at the start to find them easier in the list. Number 3. Another nice method is to add more stuff to your car chase road after saving the recorded ghosts on your track. For instance, you can start the preview of the ghosts and pause them at any moment. That allows you to place more objects on the map with Menyoo, like barrels. Don't forget to make the objects dynamic though, so they can react to the cars. This can greatly enhance your scenes. Wow! You can take this very far, by the way. Just look at this clip I made. I'm sure you've seen this type of video with impossible driving before. That's just because the objects were placed after the driving was already done. Number 4. If you mess up a take and crash when recording, I recommend you to repair your vehicle with Menyoo before starting a new take. Sometimes it is even better to just respawn your saved vehicle, because the Rockstar editor can be weird when it comes to storing or erasing vehicle damage. Also, you should clear the area with Simple Trainer to reset any props you might have knocked over and erase tire tracks and so on. But please do it when you're back at the starting position and not like I did before driving back. Number 5. If you're trying to simulate controllable traffic, you can make good use of teleporting to waypoints. So first you set up your track as usual. In this case I picked a parking lot and made the dotted line to be the start while driving out and the finish line while driving in. All the cars you see here are saved as a menu map and the ghosts have no collision. Now you position your car near the start, but don't cross the line just yet. On the map, you set a GPS marker. In Menyoo, you open up the teleport options and select this entry. Then you cross the starting line and pay attention when the timer starts. Now you teleport to the marker and do your NPC driving. It's easy to get disoriented after teleporting because you cannot determine the direction your car will be facing. To finish the recording, go back to the finish line and cross it in the right direction. Now you have to rinse and repeat this for all the cars you need in the scene. I think it is smarter to record the NPC traffic first, so you can react to these vehicles when you record the ghosts for the car chase. Then afterwards you can also add some more vehicles for denser traffic. If you have the patience to set all this up with many vehicles, you can create insane scenes. It's best to do these shots in small chunks for easier coordination. In this example I focused on just 1 or 2 intersections in the city, and it took me a good hour to set up all these ghosts. At the start line they all get clumped together, but only for a second until they teleport away. But I think it's also a lot of fun to see all the blips on the map move individually. And the police blips make it easier to see where the car chase is currently positioned for better timing. Remember, you will do cuts in post-production. Not everything has to be one big continuous take. Here's what this ghost setup looks like after editing the camera in Rockstar Editor and putting all the clips together. You could do so much more here, with small reaction shots of passers-by and stuff, so what you see here is just the tip of the iceberg. Number 6, which is the last bonus technique I'll give you, is important for editing your clips. There are types of shots that require you to follow a certain character. For instance, when you want to show the characters inside, the speedometer, or these attached GoPro type of angles. When you spectate from inside the leading vehicle while recording the clip for Rockstar Editor, you might be too far away to attach the camera to a car farther away with this setting. This is why I recommend spectating the scene from different vehicles if you are using multiple of them. This gives you more options to choose from in the final edit. Aircraft and boats. As you might have spotted in this demo clip, there were police helicopters. And the good message is, those were not spawned from the game, but Ghost Replay actually recorded the aircraft as well. Honestly, I never expected this to work, because no trainer or tool allowed for aircraft paths to be recorded like this before. I almost forgot to test this, but it seems to work just as well as it does with cars, as you can see while spectating. However, when I tested firing the cannons of the buzzard, this was not recorded. As I said in the beginning, this mod was made with racing in mind. The tricky part is flying low enough to actually trigger the start and finish lines. During the demo clip in the city I had 2 helicopters, but one of them didn't work properly because the rotor blades weren't moving. I couldn't figure out why that is the case though. I suppose it has something to do with the fact that there's no pilot, even though I did of course use one to fly it. But since Ghost Replay can easily load all the traffic back in, it would be very quick to delete the helicopter ghost and re-record it correctly. And yes, Menyoo is also not able to let characters ride boats properly, because there is no GPS track they could follow. Ghost Replay does allow you to record boat rides. There is one issue though, since the waves are dynamic and not recorded alongside the boats, they might start floating in the air. So this technique basically only works with a calm sea or on rivers and lakes. Outro. Yeah, that was another lengthy tutorial. I do hope it was worth your time. If you've made it this far, please let me harass you by begging for your support on Patreon or through YouTube's super thanks.
Thank you!
As you may know from the banner on my channel page, I refuse to put mid-roll ads into my videos, so you can enjoy the content without any interruptions. Even if a video is 30 or 60 minutes long. YouTube is just overdoing it when placing automatic ads, and I don't want to be part of that. All in all, the Ghost Replay mod is a real lifesaver for many scenes. Feel free to ask unresolved questions in the comment section. Stay tuned for more. whanowa over.